What's up, everybody? This is Cy Smith, and you are in the basement with JaVonne and Terez. In the basement with JaVonne and Terez. In the basement with JaVonne and Terez. With the basement, hey, with JaVonne and Terez.
Ooh, ooh, I dig that.
Hi, this is Kira Khan, and you're listening to and watching Brunch in the Basement with JaVonne and Terez.
Still in the basement, no longer alone, with my homegirl Terez on the microphone. Music politics are just chatting it up. Brunch in the basement, see that's what's up. You never know who might run through. Legendary artist or someone brand new. You miss a lot when you miss one day. At least that's what I heard somebody say. But it doesn't really matter what whoever says. It's always a good show with JaVonne and Terez. Yeah. Brunch in the basement with JaVonne and Terez. Yeah. Let's see who we got today. Come on, everybody's a friend in my head. I already know everybody. Whatever it is, it's gonna be good. One day I'll tell you about me and Shaka Khan, but you know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But she doesn't know anything about it. But anyway. No, she doesn't. She wasn't even there actually. But anyway.
Bosses though, Jay. Like she's got our ears and
I'm gonna send y'all some. I'll definitely get an address. I'll send y'all out tomorrow.
You can send me some cologne, because I mean, you know. Yeah. Just in case I should meet Shaka Khan, I want to smell really, you know, nice.
Oh God.
Okie dokie, babe. Whatever you say.
The time, so
and we thank you for that.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. This part, that little piece, I'm just gonna keep and play it all the time for myself. But no, I'm just teasing.
And I think it's time, Terez, to do a little rapid fire with Mr. Richard Pryor Jr.
I think so. So
yeah.
Don't worry, we won't hurt you. Ooh.
Hey, how you
like
doing?
that? What was that?
What was that?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what that is?
I heard the tail end of it, but whatever it was really beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what? It hit the nostalgia pocket. That's what I heard. I was like, oh, okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Sounded much, much different though when you first faded it out.
Yeah,
What's
that's
up,
I
Smokey?
added a little, something to it. But
Razzle dazzle spice.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? A little Tammy too much, a little something over there, a little something over here.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm feeling better today than I was feeling at the end of last week and the beginning of this week. I'm getting there, I'm getting there. I'm readjusting also to going back into the office. That's something new.
Oh,
And so my um aside from my daily habits having to revert, it's really like a complete reset. Remembering that I have to wake up early, like extra early because there's traffic.
yeah.
And then the sort of traffic is different. There was an overturned truck and backed up. I'm like, this is all very sadly familiar, you know. But, but it is what it is, it's the grind, it's the city life grind. And just reminding people to be safe, just cut it out and just be safe. And
Yeah.
it's always good to see people that you care about. That's nice. But I wasn't crying about seeing people on video. So I could see you on the video.
I see
True.
you. Yeah, I see you.
Remember?
Mhm.
I thought I saw you on the video. True.
Wasn't mad at that at all.
Hey Seiji
Sagey. What's
and
up?
Gabby Greta. So Wednesday night we did not do a live show, and Tammy Too Much learned a couple of more lessons about this technological thing. So
Mhm.
I don't think we were even up and running until about 7:30. But I was able eventually, because you know what, this thing, it doesn't tell you all the rules ahead of time. So for the most part, our shows run for 2 hours or sometimes a little bit more, which we're entitled to do. We have it set up that way. And but when you do a replay, you can't do that. So then I had to see if I could find something, but I didn't know that. It's not like they say, okay, we have this new feature. You can play replays, and this is what you have to do. These are the
Right.
rules, the confines. No, it just says you can do replays now. And then there's a new replay button. Do you want to do a brand new broadcast, or you want to do a replay? So I'm thinking, okay,
What?
just push the damn button. You know, like I was gonna say like Elizabeth Withers said, shout out to EW, but Seal, not Sealy, Suge, like Suge said, push the button, right? That that's a Color Purple thing. Anyway,
Mhm.
um, yeah, but it turned out that not only do you have to push the button, you have to have some edited film. You have to, and it can't just be. It can be a previous show, but a previous show that only ran for an hour. Well, we don't have a previous show that only ran for an hour. So, in order to do that, it has to be something that was edited. So, what was cool is that I had intended to play Dawn Robinson's show, but I ended up playing the Gandys, and that was cool. So
Mm.
the replay of the Gandys was on Wednesday night, and so I watched just to see if it did come on the way it was supposed to. Whatever, came on a little late because I put it up late, but Seiji was there, so I saw Sage saying hi, and Sage, if you're still watching, the reason why we weren't able to, do this sort of thing is because it wasn't a live show. So I don't want you to think that you were being ignored. It's just that we couldn't put it up. But I was able to comment. So you are able to comment. Did you watch it, Gabby? So Yeah. So it was she said she was so confused. So
Let's see.
uh,
I think what would help is that when we take a break, that we put up something, we post something on the social media page saying that
there's
you
gonna
know
be yeah.
yeah. It's so funny because I was talking to Sage the same day earlier in the day. So he said, "I'll see you later on." I said, "Actually, no, we're off tonight. JaVonne's going to do a rerun." He said, "No."
You know what? I got
Hilarious.
that same reaction from a couple of folks, except for one person who was like, "Yeah, good, take
Oh,
the day
nice.
off," which was Misty J. Shout out to Misty J. Always support. So I think we should be able to do that a little bit more often. I think we should do that a little bit more often. I just have to prep more shows specific to replays. So of course that gives me another chore, but that's okay. This
Just
that's a labor
edit
of love.
them. The good thing about it is we have the guests on at the 8 well, at the last second hour, so maybe you can
Right.
start it from there in the middle and then go.
Right. Which is something that I thought, oh, that could be a simple trick, except that those shows are not so once the guest comes on, it's we still go beyond an hour with them in a lot of cases. We just because we can. And so those shows go on and on. And then there's no introduction, which it doesn't mean that there has to be an intro. It's just it just needs to be filtered out. And then as a matter of fact, I edited a show, well, I started editing a show to this morning's because I was up at 6:30 this morning because I had to start getting up at 6:30 so that I could go to work, go into the
Mhm.
office. So my body said, "Oh shit, it's time to get up." And then once that happened, it was whatever.
Mhm.
So
Now you definitely, because and yeah, I'm going to say this, considering that you're going back, we are still in this pandemic. It's still going to be the levels of stress. Some people can't take it, and as opposed to doing things, and I'm not specifically talking about you, Jay, but you're going to have to make that extra concerted effort to take care of yourself. You know,
mhm, mhm.
you've been and I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm going to be preaching. And I say to you as I say to myself, there are a lot of people that just cannot. I've had some experiences as of late where people are just snapping off, ain't able to have like functioning conversations, and nervous and all kinds of energy running through them. And I'm just gonna, say that people need to take care of themselves, give themselves a minute, you know, and make sure that self-care is part of that, particularly for what you do. And now I'm talking to you for what you
Oh,
do and your commute. It's a lot, right now. And
so you know what, Rez, you brought up something. Let's peel an onion.
okay.
Yes. So yes, peeling that onion, self care. That's it. And the nervousness and trepidation and concerns and worries that people have about this pre-clearance, it's I want to say this trying to reset during the pandemic
Mm-hmm.
and trying to go back to normal when things are not normal yet.
What's normal even? But go ahead.
Well, going back to the way we were, which I don't think we are not intended. And this is the problem with government and business owners and so forth and so on. It's I think, and this is just my opinion because I don't run anything, but I think that the desire is to go back to the way things were. And you know, when you have a reset, when you have an opportunity to shut everything down and look at what worked, what didn't work, what is working now under these conditions, and
Mm-hmm.
how can we build upon that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then you have an opportunity to really reset and rebuild. And as the slogan is, build back better. We'll start with that. Start with what was done well, what didn't work, where we are, what we see about the past and about the present, and where do we want to be, and how can we get there? Do we have a plan, to a true plan to get to where we really want to be? And I think instead of doing that, which makes sense to me, I think what we're doing now, what's happening now, not what we're doing now, because I'm just trying to live, but what's going on now is where we were, what we saw right, what we saw wrong. Oh, it's terrible. We're sitting here, and it's like, okay, well, we need to get back to here. There's a panic going on in big business, government, corporations. There's a panic because of money. Money is not flowing. The economy is not moving. Therefore, there is a panic. And so they're like, hurry up, let's get back to this money, the prior money, the previous money. And the only way to get back to the previous money in their minds is to get back to the previous way of doing things. And that is not going to work because now you have people with a new understanding, a new sensibility, a new number one. But number two, there's still a goddamn disease out there ripping and roaring and killing people. But you know, it's like the minds, the powers that be, or whatever, are just not really thinking. It's not. They're not being.
Ever?
No, but they're not being. I think. Well. Honestly, I think. Oh God. If okay, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I'm gonna let you finish that.
Okay. You know what?
But you know what it is? You know what I find too? That we as a society have become so complacent. We have lost the capacity. We're so, and you know, and when they say things like when you go other places, you hear things like spoiled Americans. I'm starting to examine all of that, right? Because we are so used to letting other folks think for us, right? We may have our little silos where we you know, do our little mighty independent thinking, but by and large, you know, we watch what has been happening and we just kind of let it all soak in and we go on about our business. And here's the thing. If it ain't concerning us immediately in our households, we keep it pushing, which is disgusting to think, but it is. But I'm more inclined to believe it's true now more than ever, right? And what this pandemic has done and what's going on behind, you said something that triggered this thought with they don't think. They haven't been thinking. And now it's just on a grand scale. We have lost the capacity to talk to one another because it's so much other stuff fueling one conversation, between paranoia, anxiety, stress, you name it.
Yeah.
You name it. So now, transference and countertransference.
Mm-hmm.
So we spend more time of trying to convince each other what's right and what's not right.
Yeah.
And once upon a time, you could have your opinion, I could have mine. We could lock hands and skip to lunch. It didn't mean, the name calling. It didn't mean the craziness, and it damn sure didn't mean an acute sense of discrimination and bullying and all the extra stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I watch some of these conversations. Hey, LaVonne, I watched some of these conversations as of late, public conversations, and I'm watching, and I'm having private conversations, and folks have lost the capacity to have their own sense of self.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
And then it's like, and then you say nasty shit, and then you can't come back from it.
Yeah.
Because you take everything so incredibly personal. And when you think about it, it's not even about what's in front of you. It's about what the sauce you've been brewing in, So we got the everybody that has an opinion outside of the mainstream is a conspiracy theorist. Since when?
Yeah.
Since when? Everybody, if you don't agree with what's being said or you question, and see, that's the thing. Once we stop questioning people, we are doomed. We are doomed.
Right.
That's insane to me. If you question, or if you have it's like, how are we going to get to the point where you're in class and the teacher says, okay, this is how you do it, and then walks out the room. And you're sitting there like, well, just do it. That's insane to me.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
Can you imagine a world where we can't question? Can you imagine? So that means you're totalitarian. You want people to think for you, and this is what it is. And if you don't do it, then there are consequences to that, And I've heard every argument on every side of the stick. And guess what? They're all right. They're all right. So now, where do we go? That stage, entitlement and ignorance equal disaster.
And I think that where we go is each individual must think for themselves and plan for themselves, and because we have gotten to this place where, like you said, it's too volatile to plan together.
It is, but we can't talk to one another. We can't talk to one another. It's like, you have your idea, I have my idea. Your idea I can sit and listen to, go, mm-hmm. My idea you can sit and go, mm-hmm. And again, we're still in the same boat. We don't know what we're doing now, and we damn sure ain't gonna know what we're doing after both ideas are expressed. But the idea is not to rip each other down in the process, Misty J, you're hilarious. But it is what it is, and she too is entitled to her experience. We are all a sum of our experiences, right?
Exactly. I mean, I can speak to what I've experienced. I can speak to what I know. I can speak to what someone said, but I need to be clear that from what I was told, from what I have heard, that does not mean that I know it. Exactly. From what I have read, because reading is fundamental.
It is.
It's also for the mental, but that's just my opinion.
And if you and even reading being fundamental, I could because this is all chess now, right? I could pick up my knight and say to you, I also read that Columbus discovered America.
You could read that. You
You know,
could read that.
that's why I think that there's a certain amount of like you really have to be discerning, and everything that's coming at you laser speed ain't facts. And I've heard all kinds of and like I said, someone asked me a question. Oh, Terez, are you anti-vax? Mm-mm. I'm not pro-vax either. What I am is pro-choice. And I've heard many different arguments. And pro-choice walks us into another space, of being able to make conscious thoughts for ourselves. Because I've noticed a few things missing. One of these things just doesn't belong here. I noticed a few things missing with what's being reported. That I only hear death numbers. I don't hear the survival rates. I just don't hear them.
Yeah.
And I know, how you have that conscious hits you right here, that thought right here in your chest. That's the same one you have in that area where you're walking down an alley late at night. An extra sense picks up that can kind of go. Ooh, it's that one. I call it my God voice. And when you have a whole lot of chaos around you, your God voice could kick in, and says, "Get the fuck out of there."
Yeah.
My God voice cusses.
Yeah. It can
So they're just things that I watch that are consistently not reported. And shout out to my girl Keisha, the Love Movement on IG, because she is extremely bright online and off. And I just noticed that when people say they care about us and they're trying to do
Who cares about us?
the government.
The government cares about us?
The government for its people. And we're just trying to do X, Y, and Z, keep everybody safe. Well, how about promoting some holistic stuff? How about talking about your immune system in a way that doesn't apply science? You're trying to create something that is not of the body. The body is probably the most miraculous things that has ever existed. Ever existed.
Exactly.
That man didn't do, except for,
Yeah, I know.
But the idea that we can have this miracle happen between your anatomy gets together, biology happens, and this complicated system internally gets created. It didn't need the okie doke. So we've gotten things in the world that we need to be safe from or safer from. They compare it to immunizations as a child where you didn't have a choice, but you also knew that it wasn't made within the last 3 weeks of you taking it.
Last 3 weeks.
Here, I'm gonna cook up this good MMR for y'all. Here you go. Give this to your kids.
Yeah. It's a in terms of the vaccine, I'm at this point right now where I'm kind of over talking about it, although it's still very prevalent and needs to be discussed. So I'm not by any means trying to minimize the importance of discussing it. It needs to be discussed, especially on platforms like this, where everybody's free to have their own opinions, and everybody's opinion is respected and appreciated. I'm just so tired, man. To vax, to not vax, all the different opinions, I've like you said, we've heard them all, we've seen it all. There's black facts on the history of this government and experimentation and the but one thing that you said actually is a thing that sticks out to me, which is the numbers being reported are the numbers of people who are dying who are not vaccinated. That's what they're counting publicly.
But there's so many other stats, man.
Right. And with the other stats they're giving in statistics and and percentages and not in true numbers. So for example, they'll say 95%, I'm just saying 95% of breakthrough cases don't end up in the hospital, right? Let's just say 95%. 95% of what number? Don't tell me 95%. That could be 95% of 10. That could be 95% of 10,000 or 10 million. I need true numbers, but those for me, that's a problem. And it feels sneaky, and because because that's how I think. Don't think for me, like you said. Like people are getting to the point where there's this whole faction of people that believe in Santa Claus and believe that Pinocchio was a real boy. So that's like a large portion of this country, and it's really scary. But that speaks to a bigger problem, that I used to speak about before the pandemic. Now there's so much I can't even talk about all the other shit, but the education or lack thereof in the South of this country. The Southern, I'm sorry, if you're from the South, I love you. I love you all. However, educate yourself. That thing, man. Like the truth. Don't be afraid of the truth. Don't be afraid of the truth.
It's just, part of what you do, JaVonne, and part of what I did in a lot of arenas. The big part of what I did every week was compile statistics. You had to compile numbers. If you're doing, and this is right in this hits me directly in my Libra sensibilities about balance. It really does. So, because the questions to be asked, not just what people want to give you. It's like, okay, well, so far, every single thing that was reported was debunked as we go along. And mix that with we've been here before. We've been here before. And guess what? Guess what's the same? And no disrespect to Dr. Fauci whatsoever. None. But he also led another epidemic in the 80s where he swore by and created mass hysteria. And what I say by that is when you send out facts of things that haven't thoroughly been vetted yet, the media grabs it and makes it a hellhole. Because all they do is report. And it becomes
and I hear you with that, but the problem is, especially back then, people wanted answers, and the president back then wasn't even willing to talk about it, and the little bit that they knew was not enough to be honest or to even tell us anything. So they were coming out with bits and pieces, and a lot of it also is tainted by preconceived notions about people. So, and about people's lifestyles, and about personal choices and orientations and shit like that, like prejudices. Let me just say that, like prejudices and phobias. So although some of that
We
stuff,
got any of that right now? Any of that right now, Mom?
we still
Okay.
got that.
All
So
right,
we
let's go.
still got that. So we still got that, and a lot of, until it's all fleshed out. But while people are dying in mass numbers, unfortunately, having a president that refuses to speak on things is really bad. To pretend that nothing's happening here. What did you say? What? I didn't hear that, right? Refuse to say it ever, right? It's different, because then you still have scientists and doctors and everything working in the background, doing their thing and figuring it out, even though it took years, whatever. It's a little bit different than having a president that says, this is fine, it's going to go away in 2 weeks like the flu. Stop doing the research, stop counting, stop testing, stop doing this, stop. Are you crazy? Like, stop testing? It's because you're doing all this testing that we're getting these numbers. For real? For real. And inject some bleach up your ass and put a ray gun and put some light up your butt, and that'll do it. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, son.
But the steps are identical. See, I lived through that on the front lines. I heard the messages coming through. There was panic. There was fear. There was a targeted demographic.
Absolutely.
They started pumping out this medicine. People were dying from it. They weren't listening to people when they were saying that, hey, we're seeing these symptoms. They needed it to be isolated. They started talking about Black folks, gay folks, monkeys, and all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah.
Okay. They threw out this AZT like it was God's gift to man. People started getting it as it was a lifeline. And what they noticed is that lifeline over time was killing folks. Some rapidly because they had other things connected to it, and others not so much. But at the end of the day, about maybe a year or two later, maybe 3, they came back and said it was toxic. When people that were doing it on the front lines were saying to them all along, this person's illness accelerated. This happened. Now, don't get me wrong.
No,
they still use AZT, but now in a respectable dose for mothers who are carrying that are positive. But it took how many people did we have to lose before they got it right in their clinical trial?
It's the same thing that's going on now.
Same thing.
But unless there's some other way that scientists can figure it out. I mean, there's this really, really terrible. It's a really terrible saying. It's terrible, but I think from what I've seen, until I see something differently, I have to say I think it's true. And it hurts to say it out loud. I hate saying it out loud, but I'm gonna say it once, and then I'm never gonna repeat it. Well, I'm not going to say I'm never going to repeat it, because here I am repeating it when I probably have said I'm never going to say it out loud again. But some must die so that others can live. So when faced with some kind of disease, a disease pandemic over the centuries, they have to figure out how to cure it, how to stop it. And so, not to say that they do it right, because I'm hoping that eventually they figure out how to do this so that less people have to die, or not have to, but less people die, period. And figure out how to do these things quicker. Because if you can keep a dick hard for 4 hours.
Oh my God, yes.
I mean, you could put all your brain power on that shit, then surely we can do better.
And you're already seeing things that, and here's the hit. Now y'all keep a list if you care to, because they already have things popping up and people are reporting inflammation, myocarditis, Bell's palsy, blood clots. These are things that they already are reporting consistently. Y'all keep a list as this list continues to grow, because these are not things that you will see immediately.
Right, right.
Some of the things you'll see down the way. Oh, and of course, I cannot forget women saying that there are issues with their menstruations, things going on. So, okay.
Yeah.
So don't let them pedal backwards and say, oh, well, because every time you hear that, they have a go-to response in very small numbers.
Yep.
Very small numbers add up. I remember specifically walking past my friend who was positive and just got out of the hospital, and all he wanted to do in the 80s, all he wanted to do was get some fresh air because he had been in the hospital for so long. So I went and bought him a whole sweatsuit when he was being discharged, and we went for a walk. He came out of St. Vincent's Hospital in Manhattan, for those of you who know that it's no longer there, but it was on 7th Avenue in Greenwich Village. And we were walking across the street, and he was, slow in doing so, taking his time. But what I noticed about his lower extremities from the back, from the waist down, was that he was incredibly swollen. Incredibly swollen. And, and I had him, and I'm like, come on, we're going to walk. And we just, and he said, I want to walk down Christopher Street. Well, then that's what we're going to do, before we jump in the cab and go uptown. Let's go. So we walked, and he was just breathing deeply and taking his time. And just like he said, that place was a hellhole. Every day you're hearing beep, beep. You could hear it down the hall. You could hear them coding. It's like, it just wasn't good for my mental health, but I'm glad I'm out, And I started noticing slowly but surely around that time, I found myself looking at people's lower halves, because that's where everything from that medication was showing up, and people just, this just mimics the same thing, it's like deja vu, in a sense, and I do not believe that, God rest his soul. I just compared to now, where people are living longer, with medications that you can just pop a pill, with viral suppression, and people that really have suppressed their viral load so much that they're undetectable status. Doesn't mean they don't have it, but they're undetectable versus that in the beginning. Yeah. Now, I don't know what it's going to take, to test their medications out on folk, but I do know that it's time to start discussing more holistic forms. It's time to stop hybriding all of our fruit and vegetables, perhaps let people grow their own stuff. It's time to take it back to Eden, if you will, because your body will do what your body's going to do. It's amazing that way. But it's like, you only use a portion of your brain at a time. Your body will do some amazing things if you get up off it and allow it to.
Yeah.
Dr. CB used to say that all the time. Give me a month out of your country.
Yeah.
And I'll reset your whole entire system for you. But the problem is sustaining it.
Absolutely.
But it's not impossible. It's been done. It's been done.
I like that. Let's take a very quick music break.
Listen, Eden is kingdom, and Eden mindset is a kingdom mindset. Let me hear ya. Where my Eden citizens at? Where my Eden citizens at? Where you at? Let me see you do your hands like this. Here we go.
When God made man, he made us feel it. It was his plan that we live blessed. The tempter came, we were distracted. The tempter came, and we fell. We were deemed to live a life that's beautiful, a life that's full, a life that's rich and plentiful. It is my goal to remind you of this principle. We're redeemed, a newborn soul.
Where my Eden citizens at? Let me hear you say.
Let's get back to Eden, live on top of the world.
Yeah, sing it to somebody.
Let's get back to Eden, live on top of the world.
Tell somebody and say it.
Let's get back to Eden, live on top of the world.
Say it again, say it.
Let's get back to Eden.
Okay, tell them how it is, y'all.
Top of the world. Our family's blessed.
Our family's blessed.
Finances blessed.
Our finances blessed.
Our mind and spirit.
Our mind and spirit.
And our bodies blessed.
And our bodies blessed.
We were tempted.
We were tempted.
And we fell.
And we fell. But guess what?
Jesus came.
Jesus came.
Now all is well.
Now all is well. So what are you waiting for?
Let's get back to Eden, live on top of the world.
Tell somebody, say it.
Let's get back to Eden, live on top of the world.
Oh, you can sing it.
Let's get back to Eden, live on top of the world.
Everybody, sing it.
Let's get back to
They're right
Eden,
here.
live
Come on,
top of the world.
Let's open up your mouth. Come on. Eden, where you at? Right here, right here, right here, right here.
Said this is the time for you to give up now. God's gonna work it out. You're getting ready to smile. The blessing is on you to leave. Confess it with your mouth. I've got to live on top of the world. Change your thinking. Live on top of the world. Come on and live on top of the world. Give it ever salvation. Live on top of the world. It's the Lord's design for you to live. You're more than a conqueror. Live. Give it overcomer. Live. You can come out of depression and live. Live on top of the world. Live it on top of the world. Live on top of the world. Live on top of the world. You've been redeemed. Oh, in a price. I haven't seen. You haven't heard what the Lord has in store for you. Don't get your healing. Don't get your breakthrough.
Now, how about that for wow? That was some NSYNC shit, right?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
That was, and you already had that queued up.
No, well, I queued it up as you were speaking.
Wow, that's pretty dope.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Because, that's what's up. That's what's up. And now, let's see what else Tammy Too Much is gonna.
We got some birthday shout outs.
Yes, give the
Thank you,
birthday
Pop.
shout outs.
Yes.
Who got birthdays?
We got, happy birthday to the legendary Frida Payne,
Woo!
Nile Rodgers, two legends. Now, listen, you don't know music unless you know who Nile Rodgers is, okay?
No, that's right.
Oh, yeah. And Frida Payne, too, Since you've been gone.
That's it. That's it.
All that's left is a band to go.
The beginning beat of that song. Oh my God. It just, I don't know. Here, let's do this. It's a banger, you know.
Now that you're gone, all that's left is a band of gold. All that's left of the dreams I hold is a band of gold, and the memories of what love could be. You are still here with me.
Yes, yes, yes. And happy birthday, Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yes, Jada.
Yes, yes.
You know,
Virgos.
think of Jada and I don't know. It just don't feel so bad to be entangled. You know,
oh man,
word until Jada said it.
Listen, you know, Jada's gonna have to do something to get that whole entire entanglement conversation out of our heads, because I don't.
No, I like it there. Go ahead, Jada. Go ahead. Ain't nothing wrong with an entanglement.
Lord, it says the Scorpion.
Which, by the way, I have a question.
Uh-oh.
So if I say, where are all the sexy people at? Right? If I say I want to hang out with a bunch of sexy people, right? And mean it just the way I said it, right? I just want to hang out with the sexy people. That don't mean I want to right?
Let's be clear.
Man, so all right. So I went into a new social group.
Uh-oh.
Only me. And I really like the group because all I did, you know, the rule is you have to put your picture up and then you tell something about yourself. So most people said, "Hi, my name is Jane and I'm a lesbian and I like to hike."
Wait, well, what kind of group was it first? Let's start.
It's a support group. I mean, I guess a Facebook 40s and up lesbo group, right?
Okay.
And it's like, you know, you don't have to. Oh, and also one of the things was it said, do not harass the people who are in relationships. Let's respect everybody who's in a relationship. You know, it was clear. It said that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, cool. You know, there's some single people and there's some couple people, and that's exactly. So I said something like, you know, I'm a songwriter looking for inspiration. I like to do this. I like to do that. I'm a Scorpio, blah, blah, blah.
And my name is Earl.
Girl, can I tell you? There were so many people. Welcome to the group. Well, I was like, they're so nice. Oh, I never felt so welcome anywhere. I mean, like 100 people. Like, I was like, oh my God, so nice to me. Then all of a sudden, my inbox started getting full. And I was like, they even check on me because I said over the past 2 years, I haven't been up. So I'm looking for some positive. I said positive, sexy people with a sense of humor to be connected to. Right? That's what I said. Positive, sexy people with a sense of humor to get people. When I say people, I didn't say a person. I said people. unless they just down for like that, like just people, because they all started checking on me, and I was like, this group is really the bomb, because these people, not only do they welcome you, they friend you, and they say, so you can call me anytime, you can ask me anything, what do you like to do? I like to do this. I own a business. I have this. Oh wow, I couldn't even keep up with them. This was so nice. Until one of them said, you are so fine. Why are you still single? I said, I didn't put that in there that I was single.
Go ahead. Excuse me.
People, plural, pleasantries. I have nothing more to say. What's the website?
That was one of those deep bodied laughs.
I mean, and I was answering and saying, wow, every day I was waking up to all of these. I was like, wow, these people are nice. They are. They are. They are. Tell us more. No.
So what attracted you to the website? Was it just not website, to the group? Did you get like invited? Was it algorithms?
I got invited. Somebody said to me, oh, this is a group that you might like.
Somebody you know, somebody you didn't know?
Somebody I know, sort of. Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody I know.
Knew enough about you to know that you might like that.
You know what? Shut up, Terez.
See, you gotta watch those invitations. Invitations to run you into some shit.
Could be an orgy group. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Did you disclose your relationship status at the onset? That's a good question.
You know what? First of all, let's.
That would be a big fat no.
But that,
oh gosh, because the person would have knew that.
But you know what? I don't think there's any relevance there. I didn't invite anybody. I said what I said. And that's all that I said.
See what happens when the questions start coming, people? Question everything.
Look, all I know is that I said what I said. I did not give any invitations. And
nobody's supposed to be here. I've tried that nothing for the last time. My heart said no, no. Nobody's supposed to be here. But you take my love and change.
She left the door open.
No, I didn't.
You're hilarious.
No, I just closed the damn door. I just closed the damn door back. I had to respond to every single one of them.
She plays burlesque with the door.
No, not that. I actually, to be honest, I was shocked because.
And how did that shock manifest?
Because
what did that shock look like?
No, it didn't look like that. I'm not that. No, it was like I was confused. I was very confused, to be honest. I was like, what? I said, no. Because look, you go to my Facebook page, is very clear who I am. Stop it. Or anybody that wanted to friend me, anybody that wanted to friend me, and you're friended, you know who I am. You know my family. It's right there. So that's it. That's it. The end. That'd be like that was like one time you and I were in front of the Groove. And that lady clearly didn't know who you were, though. But do you remember the incident?
Vaguely. See, I don't. Some things I try to erase from my. I do remember, and I do remember something vaguely happened.
It was so funny, and I was like,
but
not that I needed to, but that shit never happens to me.
But here's the twist, though.
Stranger, Can I tell the story? Or no?
Sure, go ahead. You refresh my memory too.
Okay. I'm standing out in front of the Groove. It's this little spot in the village. And I was videotaping Terez and asking her to say, hi, my name is Terez and I'm in the basement with JaVonne. That was it. That was supposed to be like a one take. But people were walking by. It was late at night, but whatever. But the village never sleeps. People walking through. This random woman, white woman, not that matters, but she was Caucasian. She came up to Terez, hugged Terez and said, "I'm going wherever she's going." And Terez was all of, like, get off of me, stranger danger, stranger danger. And I was like, that shit never happens to me. Not that I needed to.
I do remember that.
I was like, yo, maybe it's because I'm so short they couldn't see me. I don't know. They just bypassed because I'm like very,
But using your hands, that was that I do remember that actually. Yeah.
She wasn't. I mean, for whatever. She was young and cute. She was cute. She was cute for herself. I mean, not my type, but she was cute.
She was an attractive woman. I just didn't like the use of hands.
And not only that, you were already married, I believe. Were you married? I think you were. Yeah, you were married already. You were married on national television. So does that mean you're supposed to wear a sign? I'm married. Back the fuck up. Although a wedding ring actually would do that. I don't have a ring. I'm not married.
But understand something, and I'm going to say this with a complete.
All the single ladies.
People don't really care. The only people that care are people that love you, people that support you. But my experience from being a single person, meaning, I'll put it like this, my experience in being an unmarried person and a married person is the same. The only thing different is me. Did she embody more Becky or Karen? Becky, definitely.
Yeah, that was not Karen energy. And I wouldn't even say Becky. She was more like
Cindy Takes the Night. She was partying. She was down in the village. She was partying, having a good time, feeling good.
She was cool people. She had the energy of a person that you could hang out with,
right,
and have a good time. She was really just having a good time, and clearly with the privilege, thought that she could touch and hug anybody she saw on the street.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming. You know, I was like, you know.
Yeah.
But I could have a sense that she was harmless. She was just having a good time, and you know.
Her name was Lola.
Wow, that's funny. Yeah, I remember that.
Here it is. I've been waiting for this. We're ready to glasses off, cause I'm just saying. Cause you're just saying what?
Huh?
Talking about Rez's eyes. That's what it is. It's the eyes. I thought we had this clear. I have a set of eyes also. Okay. She has eyes, and I have eyes. Okay. We all have eyes. You have eyes. I mean, my very, very hetero friends. But her eyes.
Aries rule Caucasians, thus they are the acquisition. Thus a ring may not stop them. Ever seen Leona Hemsley movie? I vaguely remember a Leona Hemsley movie. That is amazing that you made those connections. You know, I love the way people think.
That was amazing. Look at this. There, see, started up the queen. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. It's all in the eyes. What?
And see what happens. It's all in the beholder. That's exactly what it's all in. You know, it's all in the beholder.
She said my eyes are stalkerish.
Pluto and Mars rule Scorpion. Thus most of them you don't get the vibe. You just can't walk up and touch them.
No, you can't. Yes, it is a vibe. Yeah. Don't touch me. Don't fucking touch me.
There are 5 tall lesbians outside the NBA.
You know what? And let me just say this, Queen. I love me some Aries energy. I am so attracted to Aries energy. I love air. I don't know what it is that fire, that Aries, that, you know, Shaka Khan is an Aries.
Yes. I spent Aries have a lot of things. Fire is one of them. Yes. If you have an Aries that is in your corner, it's amazing. If you have an Aries that is not in your corner, it's a nightmare.
Yes. Time for. Yes, you are a vibe. You hold a surplus of melanin. I've never heard that before. A surplus of melanin, and are different, very different than Caucasians. Okay. I legit stayed in a whole relationship for too long, partially because she was tall. You know
see what happens. And they don't mind. They just roll. Boom. They're quick.
Yep, that's it. If you didn't know, now you know. Let's do rapid fire. The most recent rapid fire, I just did it this morning, 6:00 in the morning. Anaya Day.
Melody.
Harmony.
Ministry of Sound.
British.
Larry Levan.
Beginning.
Frankie Knuckles.
My brother.
Love.
God.
Thank you. You're up next, Jay.
Okay. Fried chicken.
Yum.
Harlem.
Vibe.
House music.
My love.
Voice.
Me,
Family.
my life.
That's what's up. That's it right there.
Behind the veil, Anaya Dayball.
Hey, this is Anaya Day, and we're in the basement with JaVonne and Terez. Yes! Do you guys watch Queen Sugar?
We do. I do. When I can catch
Okay,
it.
well, the past season, they licensed one of my songs called How Many Ways, and it's an R&B ballad. And they're in the diner and they're having a meeting or a discussion, and my voice is blaring in the background. I had forgotten they licensed it, and I'm watching the show just like everybody else, and it's like, how many ways can I say? And I was like, I totally forgot. I was like, that's me, Ma, my baby.
He said, what happened, Stinky? Never should have told me that. Lord.
Nice.
Thank
Nice,
you.
nice.
Oh man. Music.
Yes, shout out to the legend. Miss
Yes.
you, bro.
Yes, yes, yes.
Like, woo, when you talk about how those little cutaways fly about when someone's going back through their life, when you always see in the older movies, you see their life flashing before them, and it looks like this. So many,
Exactly.
so many, and they keep coming. They keep coming. Well, what were you getting ready to say?
Yeah.
Shout out to the late, great Gwen Guthrie. Do you know, here's a fun fact.
Fun fact.
When they were recording, when Larry was doing Gwen's remixes, I got to see that live.
Oh, wow. That's dope. That's amazing. That is amazing.
Sitting there ODing on Snicker bars with the legs crossed in the corner of the studio because I like to be out of the way. But it was hard because I kept wanting to dance, But it was an amazing session, When she was, it was his intention to play it that night at the garage. So it was like I think they went in there like some crazy hour and came out, probably, right before he had to go put it on there. But it was the remix. I listened to the remix of Peanut Butter and Ain't Nothing Going On But the Rent. You know, those two, which he broke that night at the garage.
That's what's up.
Rest in power.
Both of them. And speaking of interesting facts, let's do a Black History fact. How about that?
Let's go.
Many Americans of different temperaments, talents, racial, and ethnic backgrounds help paint the rich mosaic that we know today as cooperative extension. Much of the mosaic can be attributed to the efforts of one man, Booker T. Washington, who led an agricultural and mechanical school known then as the Tuskegee Normal and Industrial Institute. He, along with famed Tuskegee Institute researcher George Washington Carver, understood that the insights generated at Tuskegee and other agricultural research facilities across the United States would be fully utilized only if they were successfully communicated directly to farmers where they lived and worked. They pioneered the use of agricultural demonstration wagons, known as Jessup wagons, or movable schools. Washington appointed star Tuskegee student Thomas Monroe Campbell to oversee the implementation of this grand vision. These wagons, launched in 1906, were dispatched to far-flung regions of Alabama to provide producers with the most efficient farming methods. Without being fully aware of it at the time, Washington and Carver transformed extension work. The first 100 years of cooperative extension work are due in no small measure to these three men who acquainted Americans with practical knowledge in a way that had never been tried before. Knowledge that not only empowered people, but in a great number of cases, actually saved them. In this centennial year, it is with immense pride that the Alabama Cooperative Extension System salutes these three cooperative extension visionaries from Alabama, without whom the extension legacy would not have been possible: Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver, and Thomas Monroe Campbell.
So Booker T. Washington, man. Let's see. What do I want to say about him? The significance of an African American being asked to deliver a speech at a major convention in the heart of the South to a white audience was historic. And this happened on September 18th of 18, what year was it? 18, I think it's been 100 years. It's 1921, I think. Only 30 years after the end of slavery, African American leader, orator, and educator Booker T. Washington delivered what is considered by many to be one of America's greatest speeches on September 18th, 1895. That's the date. He addressed race relations in what has become known as his Atlanta Compromise speech at the Cotton States and International Exposition in Atlanta. Although he called on African Americans and whites to work together to build the South, many considered parts of Washington's speech an appeasement to fears whites had of African Americans wanting to progress towards the upward economic and social rim of society. He received a standing ovation at the conclusion of the speech. The interesting thing about Booker T. Washington, who was the founder of Tuskegee, he was in some parts of Black America perceived to be a sellout. And a lot of people thought that he was playing up to the white man, and he taught bricklaying and farming and agricultural skills. And the young black people of that day had higher aspirations, or different not higher. I don't want to say higher, but different aspirations. And he thought it was important that we be able to show that we could be farmers on our own without having to sharecrop, that it was important for us to be able to build and sustain our own communities, and so that we could be perceived as equal. He also had some really strong opinions about a woman's place being, you know, in the kitchen and da 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 da, and that men should be, the caretakers, the providers, and so forth and so on. So his legacy, although you hear the name to Booker T. Washington and you think great educator, scholar, and the ambassador and founder of Tuskegee, there's also another history, another part of history in his legacy. You know, if you I can't imagine being, I can only imagine being a black person in the 1890s America,
Mm.
and what that might have looked like, felt like for a black man, for a black woman. But for him, it was very important that black men stood up and show that they were equals to white men, who were the patriarchs of the country at the time, in charge of every damn thing. And you know when you're I think he was born like right at the end of slavery. I think he was like 9 when our people were emancipated, whatever. I'm not going to get into that, Terez. I saw it in your face. I saw it. One eyebrow. The are we really free eyebrow. I saw it. So, but coming from that background and being raised and cared for by people who were enslaved, what does that, because we are, well, I can only speak for myself, a product of being raised by people whose grandparents and great grandparents were enslaved. So there is a trickle down of that. And what does that do to your psyche, your mentality? What does it do to your physical DNA and your self-love and the way you perceive yourself? But then the more you learn, the more you understand, and so forth and so on. But back then, he didn't have the knowledge of where we are today. Like what, like there was hopes that some of the things that we are doing today, or some of the freedoms or liberation, that we have today, there was hope of that during his day. So, it's really it's a heady thing when I think about people like him. And then on the other side of that, people like Harriet Tubman, people like Frederick Douglass, who, by the way, very interesting for some of, and getting in touch with Ken these days has been very, very difficult for good reason. But you know, um, so a not largely known fact is that the descendants of Booker T. Washington and the descendants of Frederick Douglass ended up meeting at Tuskegee, getting married after knowing each other 3 months, and thereby having children, And at this time, the descendants of both Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington, all in one gene pool, which is very interesting to me. They have the Frederick Douglass Family Initiative, which is a nonprofit, and what they do is they educate to modern day slaves, or the modern day enslaved, which is like human trafficking, is how it manifests itself today. So it's almost like the family business goes on, the education piece from the Booker side, and the um, emancipation, and I can't think of the word. What do you call the people that emancipate free people? That I can't think of the word. What is the word?
People that do it.
Yeah. It starts with an A. I can't think of the word. Abolitionist. Dun, 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 dun,
I was
dun. I
gonna say
win.
assholes.
Modern what? Assholes?
Well, just the idea that
Abolitionists are assholes?
No. I said, you said it starts with an A. This is before abolitionists came up, and I was going to say assholes because I processed it like people that freed the slaves, and I'm thinking, but it triggers me into you freeing me, like that whole.
I get it. It's
like,
but if when you think about those who are trafficked today, right? Those young people, old people, male and female, who are being trafficked today, and those people who are fighting to get them free. It's that's the way I perceive it. You know what I mean? Like getting them their freedom.
Mm-hmm.
They were born free and born to be free. We all were. But then there were some assholes that thought that they should not be, and that I don't what see.
There you go.
Okay,
Gotcha.
No, I'm gonna resist.
Go ahead, follow that thought. Because it does take
Rez.
your breath away.
Rez, I won't do it. Okay, enough of the shenanigans. Let's address the real elephant in the room. Okay, who the hell did it? What? Who?
I actually like that.
How can you be born a human being? I don't care who your mama, who your daddy, who your great granddaddy was, what you look like, what you don't look like, how long, short your hair is, how tall you are, how short you are, or the color of your eyes, how big or how little it don't matter. What would make you think, as a human being, that you have the right to enslave, to kidnap, to take another person and make them do your bidding against their will?
Mental health issues.
What the? Who? What? Okay, I can't.
Yeah, it starts with, first of all, well, it doesn't start with it. My trigger is, I'm better than you, therefore I must do this because you are a percentage of a human. Like really, them sound like the facts y'all still fucking with. The stats, sorry, that y'all still messing with. Like really, so you got this all figured out, don't you, Mr. White Man? You've got this all figured out, don't you? So you enslave a bunch of people. So you go to another continent, you enslave people, force them against their will. See, this is boom, boom, boom. It's like it's growing with your fight, your flight, in your fear mongering. It's growing. It started off primitive. Ships, you got the Nina, the Penta, and whatever else you got going on. All the other cargo stuff. And you're still doing it. It's the same freaking formula. It's just evolving a bit, but it's the same shit.
You know what's most perplexing to me though, Rez?
What's that?
When I think of modern day slavery, right? And I think about young girls who are forced into prostitution. A lot of times it's black men doing it. And that I don't understand. That I don't think I will ever understand.
Well,
beating them into submission, preying on their weaknesses, their stressors, lack of family support, finding vulnerable people and turning them out. And I mean your sisters, the very sisters you're supposed to be protecting.
Oh my. Oof. That's oof, okay. You know,
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, we already know there's generational issues with them others and that whole Christopher Columbus and all that shit. I get it. I can't fix them. But I need to know, as a sister, as a older person in this particular community, what can I do to stop these young men from doing this shit?
Well,
I can't sweep out poverty and fix every young girl's brain with the stupid messages that comes through society. I can't fix that. I can't fix any of these young men either, but maybe there's something somewhere I can do. I can do something. I mean, you know, I thought I had, you remember I had grand gestures not too long ago what I was going to do. But honestly, it's just I don't have the time and the wherewithal right now. And that's another venture I probably will retake up in the next 5 years or so. I once I get my own independence and freedom, you know, then I can maybe spend, because that's something that, you know, for me, you have to put your whole self into. You can't just do it haphazardly. These young girls and young boys, you know.
Yeah, you know, a lot of folks don't know that the oldest form of prostitution is not even female; it's men.
Yeah.
And it's but yet, you know, of course, it shows up differently. You know, that's a great question. I can't think. You know, my mind goes into the fundamentals, and then it goes right out to the bottom line, and it says to me that it's still about money, and the same thing. The same concept. You know. It's big business, and you know, and people pay a lot for it, you know, and it looks, and it doesn't matter if it's on a street level or somewhere on somebody's private island, you know, it is the same, you know, situations, and it's the same, and it's a lot of men at the helm, and I think that our men have to do a whole lot better. And I just mean, they just do. You know, when I think about times where I've witnessed, and I'm talking about, this ain't nothing I read, this ain't nothing I've been told or looked at. When I've witnessed, I think I may have shared this before. At one point, I did outreach, and we would go by into some of the hustle areas, right? So we'd be by the male prostitution areas, the female prostitution areas, the transgender prostitution areas, and we would hang out, you know, and try to take some of the young kids out of there, you know, and also try to give referrals and things and find spaces for the older folks too, because you can't just come through with nothing for folks that may just be tired of having to do that, right? The van that we rode in was high. It was a conversion van. And if you know anything about those 80s and 90s conversion vans, they sat up high. You know, they were like little mobile houses whereby we could see into the cars from a different point of view. And, you know, I would see all denominations. I would see wedding bands from people driving the steering wheel. I would see all things, and I would sit there and I would talk to my partner at the time and go, this is interesting. I would see, you know, a culture of people all together in a station wagon picking up one or two, particularly in the transgender areas, you know, and just driving off with them, you know, and front facing, they're so governed by how they live their lives. But that underbelly is real. Is real. And I remember sitting and thinking, and, you know, my partner used to say things like, you think too much. You know, he's shout out to Claude. He would tell me all the time, TJ, don't start. And I'd be like, but do you see? I said, pay attention to this. And when he actually focused, and remember, this is another man I'm talking to who has the luxury of ignorance and just pretending that it doesn't affect them, you know. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking, and he, you know, he's always called me soft, and I didn't like that, so he started calling me fluffy instead. And I would say, he goes, oh, you're being fluffy again. And I was like, no, but it's just, this is an issue, man. It's an issue. It's an issue. And it's sex trade is real. Mm-hmm. And there are huge folk, majority men, and I'm going to say that at the risk of whatever, participating in this in a real way. And it's as soft as, hey, you want to go out on a date, to as obvious as picking folk up off the street. It doesn't change. And I've seen it both. Professionally, I've seen it. You know, modeling agency, industry party. You get there and it looks like a meat market. Oh, but they're in suits and they're white and they, you know, it doesn't make the girls any less young. You know, it doesn't make, you know, I was like, what is happening here? And removing myself promptly from that exchange. But, you know, my agency told me, hey, this is what's going on over here. Maybe you should go there and, you know, check things out and da, 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 you know. So I went, and I was always in and out anyway. When I got there, you know, that water and the dimly lit stuff, and you see a bunch of nerds apparently. So, but they are, you know, and the girls are younger and from foreign, and I was, what is this mess going on in here? Nah, this don't feel right. They go that voice again. Nah, let's get out of here. I don't care how she and foo lied. I don't care how many red carpets out front. Let's get up out of here. Let's get up out of here. And slowly I turn step by step, inch by inch.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's, but, And then when he becomes president, poof, it automatically goes away. There, I said it. But you know, it's just what it is, and it's really, really, it saddens me on so many levels, and it's done under the guise of the old boys club or the good old boys or whatever you want to call them. You know, if you're not part of it, you know, on some level.
Yeah, no, it's true.
It's weird. But I think we got a lot of reckoning going on. I do believe that we are at the top. We haven't gotten to any part of anywhere. We are at the tippity top of a world reckoning. You know, things going to have to crumble before they get better. because we just won't stop. He won't stop. He's obsessed and fixed. And I say he, because I believe that it's going to be women that are going to pull us out of this, and white women better get it together. They better get it together, because you've supported this crap up until you started being affected by it. Now you're screaming, oh. And I'm looking like, yeah, welcome to sanity.
Exactly.
But don't get your presence confused with the main event.
Yep. And now they're mad that we're not, like really leading the charge against this Texas nonsense. But you know what? You supported these guys. These were your guys. These were your men. And we are up in arms about it, but guess what? It's your fight. Go fight it. Go fight it.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah, because they're not really doing all of this because they don't want black women to not have abortions. They don't want white women to not have abortions. They want you to be barefoot and pregnant, have some babies. They want black women in the workforce, preferably cleaning their houses and stuff, but they just want, white babies. That's what they need right now. I don't, and it's necessary for white women to get on board and understand that this is all it's all one thing. And it's the smallest fraction of the population that's controlling everything. But because white women support them, that's why they're able to continue. And that's why they're trying to hurry up and change all the voting laws. Because we're starting to understand that when we vote as black women, when we vote, we have power.
I've been, yes, but I just have, yes, I believe in.
We need better people to run for election. We need better people, better choices.
Yeah, because and speaking of which, I wanted to say this and give a shout out to my girl, Megan McGlover. And Greta Gabba, I see you. Gabby Greta, I'm sorry. I see you and I see what you're writing, and I am a believer of that as well. I believe that as well. And when we started this conversation, JaVonne, we started talking about, at the top of the hour, we started talking about how we've lost the capacity to have conversation. And a lot of people use their platform just to be able to speak to the people. Now, there's no exchange. You don't see, so the idea of bullying, you don't see two people on a screen and you don't see that actively happening. What you see is one person expressing their point of views, right? That was what the United States was known for, because other countries, sometimes you just can't do that, right? So you should be able to have an opinion without it inciting a riot, right?
Yes.
So Megan McGlover, who is a family friend, comedian, and a few other things, she's got this book out, right? And maybe I need to reach out to have her on the show. She's very outspoken, and she provokes thought. And the way she gives you information is always through the lens of a comic. So she's giving you the truth, but it's like she'll say things like, I done told y'all, and her natural speech pattern, it's like it's a combination of things that makes her funny while she's feeding you, because you got to put a spoonful of sugar to let the medicine go down, right? So, and she often will say, I tried to tell you, ho, and she talks in third party when she's giving the information. So she has she had a whole lot of TikTok followers, and somebody, and when Biden said, enough is enough, with the condescending white male privilege.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say the patriarchal thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, it struck a chord with quite a few, because everybody was talking about it. Well, Megan said, and Megan said what a lot of us felt. Like, who are you talking to? Like that wasn't very presidential. Watch your tone, Mr. Biden. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and that doesn't make you look mighty or strong. It makes you look cowardly and weak, quite frankly. You know, if you have to scream or scold to get your point across, raise your point, not your voice. You know? So she mentioned on her platform, she was like, who is Biden, my pimp? You know, she asked the question. He's not my and certified, he's not my pimp. Who does he think he's talking to? Crazy like that. When he was like, you should have had that for Trump when you was running against him, because you look real weak in the debates. But then you get you get the seat and you start talking reckless now. Now you bad, Joe. Oh, okay. But I just didn't like the delivery, you know. If he meant business, all right, fine. You mean business, but just your delivery sucked every part of the ass. It really did. So she made mention of that on her platform, and they took it down.
Who took it down? TikTok?
TikTok took her platform down, and
The
all
the whole page?
took it down. Called it hate speech. Took her content and her platform down.
Wow.
For hate speech. And her question was, well, who am I hating on, Biden? Who am I hating on? I'm expressing whatever, but she's gonna fight that, of course. You know.
Yeah, that's a whole bunch of people on TikTok saying things anti-Biden, anti-Trump.
Oh, but they don't have millions of followers. You see.
Some of them pretty popular though. I mean,
all right. They probably are, but it's there, you know. So
because there's been a lot of issues with Black creators on TikTok who have large followings. A lot of them, even if they're not political though, they're being taken down. TikTok is a Chinese run application. It's not even American. And if you recall, Trump wanted to shut TikTok down in America because of whatever. But
there were some privacy issues with TikTok as well, about them being able to read into your telephones and stuff.
The Chinese, right? And so it's if TikTok took it down, I can't imagine the Chinese. I don't know, but they are anti-Black people, Black Americans especially.
Well, and you don't speak against the government in China either, you know. So you know that may have been, I don't know, I really don't know. But
I know that they saying like I know that there's a lot of black creators on TikTok who have large followings that have made dummy backup accounts to say that all of their content was removed. And I don't know if they're all saying political things, whether it be anti-Biden, anti-what. But there's definitely an issue, and yes, she should fight it and get her thing back up there.
How about these platforms? And again, here we go. Fundamentals. We make these apps and platforms hot. We do, the consumer. It is time to have a platform that is strictly for us, where we have our content. So we ain't worried about nobody's TikTok, nobody's Facebook, Instagram. We can make one where you can express your point of views to each other that is for us, by us. You begging other folk for their platform. They have the ultimate control over what you see, because some folks, their content, you could be following them and you never see their stuff because they've limited what they can share. You see 10% of their content, or if that. And people have been complaining about it.
So I mean, if there are people, clearly there must be some Black people who can create a platform.
I'm going to next time I go to my coding session, because they were suspended, I'm going to bring that up. We need to create a platform for the week. I'm going to bring that up.
I just feel like, you know what, Terez, I'm just at this point where for me personally, just for me personally, I just can't do another thing right now.
Mhm.
Um I I'm waiting for my freedom papers, girl. And you know, like you said, hopefully I live to see it, you know? And that's that right there, you know? And there's so many things that we need and so many things that would benefit us as a people, especially if I mean, if somebody says, like you said, your friend is saying she didn't like the way Biden came off, and I didn't see that particular thing because I try not to, believe it or not, watch as much as I used to. If it was as insulting to many people and people are saying it and people are chiming in, then shit, needs to be said. It deserves to be heard, and she could come right here and say it. You
Yeah,
know,
she's got a new book out and the title of the book is Stop Lying. And I think I will reach out to her to have her come on and
there was a Black Women's March. Do you recall the young ladies that came on? Jesus, and I'm drawing a blank right now. Black Black feminism was one of the, oh Jesus, I can't think. Black feminism. Yes, it was you. It was okay. All right. We
cha
gotta
cha.
have you. We gotta have you back on. I was because I was trying to I thought that the march was supposed to be in September 25th or something like that, or 12th, whatever. Anyway, hit me up in my inbox, and she's laughing at me because I'm old. I know, girl. I be trying to remember stuff and I just can't. But we spoke about that, and I didn't realize that you were that person. That's really cool. Thank you for watching. I'm glad that you still hang out with us.
The
Um,
nicknames is the nicknames. Cha cha
it's the
girl. I do like
nicknames,
that.
Cha Girls. I dig it. So yeah, if you could just hit me up, and then we can come up with a date for you to come on, and then we can talk more about the march. And look at that. The last time they were on, it was like 700 girls and women. And now it's 1,001. It's crazy. Majority of those murderers, Black men.
Mm.
I saw this TikTok. There's this TikTok that floats around where they say, this woman says, "Well, I don't know why he would do that. I didn't raise him up to be evil like that." And then the girl says, "Really? Well, then who did, Patricia? Who raised him to be like that then? Who? What? Who did it?"
Yeah,
And
like
not to
mhm.
place complete blame on any one person, but how are these people what are we doing to our boys that they grow up to either? I mean, and look, I love my brothers. I'm not male
Bashing.
bashing. I'm definitely not bashing, but the truth is the truth. The truth is the very much truth. And adults do make their own decisions, but when we make if I make a decision, when I made decisions as a young person, I made decisions kind of willy-nilly, but I also knew better. There were certain things that I knew not to do. There were certain things that I would get an instinct. Don't do that. Like Terez, you said you went into this nice place. You, I'm assuming, were a model during that period of time, and
I was.
people who are trying to pursue that kind of career want to be a part of the fanciness and the shenanigans, the fancy shenanigans, but then something in your gut, and I'm going to assume that you learned some things prior to walking into that setting that told you this is not a good girl place. This is not something that somebody who wants to be safe will do.
Well, yeah, absolutely, and thank you for saying that particular piece, because your caretakers, and I'm not going to limit that to your parents. Your caretakers pour in the fundamentals, right? And and let's just be clear. There's a lot of degradation that hangs out. Like when they resurfaced this park not too far from my house, right? They made it really kid friendly, and it's very cute. It has colors and has, the basketball courts were resurfaced. It's a cute little park. So they have water things for the kids, and that takes up like maybe 3/4 of the park. They have a little dog run, and then they have a basketball court. So the park is it's on a corner. It's not, it's not huge, but it's well done, well designed. So whenever I drive by, I find myself looking at the park, and I possibly shouldn't say this because I haven't even shared this with my wife, but I will say there was one time where I saw this gentleman in the park, and he was without a child, and there were kids playing in the area, and he was way off to the other side, kind of just. So I said, well, he's awfully far away from them. Maybe he's their caretaker, but that's not what my insides were saying, right? So later on that day, drove past, guy is still there, see kids, but not the same kind of kids, So then I pull over, because again, this is my neighborhood. So I said, I had my first, I want to see what this is experience being a Karen, right? I walked through the park and I said to the kids, hey, y'all, and some said hi, some didn't, and I was like, anybody know that guy over there? Little girl's like, what guy? And I said, over there. And one of the children was Spanish speaking, but she knew enough to do this. So I said, oh, okay. So I went back to my car, and it wasn't but like maybe 3 or 4 kids in the playground. None of them knew him. And he was there from early part when I drove around the corner and saw him, right? So, as an adult, if you don't have kids in the park, don't hang out in the park.
Right.
Don't hang out in the kiddie section of the park. It's a kiddie park.
Exactly.
So I went back to the car, and I called the police department, and I was like, I told them the park, and I said, and I've just observed this gentleman that's been here from the top of the day, and I say that's about 8:30 this morning, and now it's about 4:30, and the park closes at 6. He's been like kind of hanging out in the park all day long. Before I got to the corner, they were coming down the block. So I said, let me circle back around, see what's what. Do you know, when I circled back around, the police were there talking to the kids. He was walking down the block. I was like,
90 seconds.
Instincts. Something ain't right. Just pay attention. Your God voices are going to carry you through a lot of this. God voices are going to carry you through a lot of stuff.
Well, what I want to just say is this, because we're running down and we're about to close up. I once heard that women love their sons and
60
raise
seconds.
their daughters. I'm going to say that again.
Mm.
Women love their sons and raise their daughters. I say, give your son a doll. Teach him to be a father. Teach him to be caring. Give him a doll from day one. And that's my spiel. That's my take on it. So, Resi Poo, whatever you do for the rest of this weekend, I want you to enjoy it to the max. And maybe we'll take another Wednesday off so I can have some time to figure more stuff out and try it again. All right, but I'll let everybody know this time, okay?
And I'll post it on the page as well.
Okay, groovy baby. Everybody have a great weekend. 10 seconds.
Peace, party people. See you later.
And you're listening to JaVonne and Terez in the basement. So what I need you to do is, I hope you're showing them love. Oh. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. That wasn't like the first one I did. I did something like, hi, this is Robin S. And you're listening to JaVonne and Terez in the basement. Show them love.
This is Terrell Carter, and you are listening to Brunch in the Basement with JaVonne and Terez.
Hey, this is Avery Sunshine, and I am in the basement with JaVonne and Terez, shining.
What's up? It's your girl Monifa, and you're tuned in to Brunch in the Basement with JaVonne and Terez.
Hey, it's your girl Allison Williams, and you're in the basement with JaVonne and Terez.
Hey, this is Lenny Williams, and you're listening to Brunch in the Basement with JaVonne and Terez, playing my kind of music.
Still in the basement, no longer alone, with my homegirl Terez on the microphone. Music politics are just chatting it up. Brunch in the basement, see that's what's up. You never know who might run through. Legendary artists or someone brand new. You miss a lot when you miss one day. At least that's what I heard somebody say. But it doesn't really matter what whoever says. It's always a good show with JaVonne and Terez. Yeah. Brunch in the basement with JaVonne and Terez. Yeah. Let's see who we got today.
Come on, everybody's today. A friend in my head. I already know everybody.
Whatever it is, it's gonna be good.
One day I'll tell you about me and Shaka Khan, but you know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but she doesn't know anything about it. But anyway. No, she doesn't. She wasn't even there actually. But anyway, but she did mention none other than Shaka Khan as one of her.
Why you gotta say? Wait a minute. Why you gotta say Shaka? She did mention
no other than Shaka Khan.
I'm like, where does your voice go? What happens? What's happening? Even the mere mention of her name. Silence. Oh gosh.
Would you believe I'm blushing?
Yes. Hard. You're speechless blushing. That's the thing. Speechless blushing.
Grazi, I can't help it.
There's a Shaka rehab, you know.
If there's a cure for this, I don't want it. I don't want it.
Our senses, though, Jay. She's got our ears and
I'm gonna send y'all some perfume. I'll definitely get an address. I'll send y'all out tomorrow.
You can send me some cologne, because I mean, you know. Yeah. Just in case I should meet Shaka Khan, I want to smell really, you know, nice.
Oh God.
Okie dokie, babe. Whatever you say.
Just wanted to wish everybody a happy Shaka Hanukkah. All right, thank you. Let's carry on. I'm sorry.
JaVonne, there's a pill you're going to be able to take for that. I promise not to tell them which way you went, but they're coming for you.
The time, so
and we thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. This part, that little piece, I'm just gonna keep and play it all the time for myself. But no, I'm just teasing. And I think it's time, Terez, to do a little rapid fire with Mr. Richard Pryor Jr.
I think so. I think so. So,
yeah.
Don't worry, we won't hurt you.